Josh Green here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Jamie Conlan here in Belfast. Another Belfast fight week. Big time boxing seems to be coming back to Belfast, doesn't it?
Yeah, rightfully so. It's a big time boxing city. It's a city steeped in its history of boxing. It's a city that loves its boxing, that respects its boxing. So yeah, we've always had quality on the island as a whole. We've always had quantity of the island. It's now about bringing the big shows to the people and giving these fighters here an opportunity, which again is coming on Saturday night.
Opportunity is really the word, isn't it? When you look over that card, there are fighters that have been doing this for quite a while and just waiting for that opportunity. They've got it on Saturday night.
Yeah, they do. Like it's up and down the card. You're talking. No, like Siobhan Clarke, Tommy McCarthy, the opportunity there for both fighters. Tommy to resurrect his career and keep it alive. Siobhan Clarke to really boost his career and give him that big platform to go in there. And same with like Lewis Crocker. This is an opportunity for him to put a statement out there that he is, the face of boxing here in this city.
Let's talk about Lewis Crocker. For him, Jose Felix, a man that we know is dangerous. He did the job against Gary Cully in 2023. Key that he doesn't make the same mistakes that Gary made?
Yeah, definitely. And it was in the same kind of situation. The circumstances were the same. It was the coming out party for Gary Cully. It was the first time, well, he wasn't headlining, but it was the first time he was boxing in Dublin. It was, there was a lot of pressure, a lot of build-up, a lot of fanfare focusing on Gary Cully and not Jose Felix. Crocker has to be smart, but I think the massive learning curve for Lewis was the last fight with Tyrone McKenna. It was unique. It was different for him. It was something that we hadn't had in the city in I think 25, 30 years in terms of an all Belfast battle, an all Belfast rivalry, a rivalry that kind of divided the city as well. So it was one that he had to come through and learn a lot from and grow from, and he's now into like a real different beast, a different. It is a different circumstance completely from the last one because the focus is all on him. The people expect him to go out and do a job, but the actual boxing people know Jose Felix does not come down they come over to lie down. He is a live opponent, a dangerous opponent that thrives off the under the radar. They come in under no one really expecting anything, and they cause the upset.
You talk about it sort of being a coming out party for Lewis Crocker. What doors and opportunities could this open for him?
Well, the 147-pound division is massive, especially in the UK, especially in Ireland. You have loads of fighters there that are kind of they make for massive fights, big fights. Obviously, everyone wants Conor Ben or wants the big night like that, but you look at the division is stacked, and then on the card as well. They've two other welterweights on the card, fights that can be done in-house with Matchroom. There's massive fights there for Lewis, and he's got Matchroom and the zone behind him now, pushing him and promoting him to help kind of build this profile and give him a commercial value that we believe he deserves, and the city getting behind him.
You talk about Tommy McCarthy. Experience obviously edges towards him, but in recent months, Siobhan Clarke's been putting on some explosive performances. Who do you see as the favourite in that fight?
It's a very hard one. It is a pick-em fight. It's a crossroads fight. It's a fight that, experience, know-how, kind of distance, how to control things. Tommy McCarthy has been there and done it, but Siobhan Clarke is. The way he's come through the Olympics and they were talking about fast tracking, he's old enough to do that and move at a pace, and his performances have been a lot better recently than Tommy's. But again, Tommy's found a new lease of life with a new training setup, with a new system, and feeling that the pressure is off him, not being on that left hand side of the poster, not being the one expected to win. He's kind of come with a revigored focus. So it's very hard to pick a favourite. It's I wouldn't say youth versus experience because they're both old enough, and it's probably experience is a massive factor coming into it. But the way Siobhan Clarke fights compared to Tommy, you don't really the matchup is probably in his favour as well. So it's a hard one to pick.
I want to talk about a fight away from this card. In Padraig McCrory going over to the US to take on Edgar Berlanga. Huge opportunity. We mentioned that word numerous times, but if he wins that fight, there really are world titles and huge things knocking on the door for Paddy McCrory.
Yeah, there is, but like as you go back to stating about like Belfast boxing and Irish boxing, 2 shows in Belfast back to back, December and January, and then we have another one of our big fighters fighting in February in a massive fight on the world stage, but that shows the strength and depth we have here in the city and in the country as a whole. That your main event fighters are fighting elsewhere, but you still have main events in the city, big time boxing in the city. So Paddy has been, a friend for years, but he's kind of the guy you really want to root for. He's the everyman. He's the man you kind of want to push on. You want to help. You want to see. He's the family man. He's the man who's took opportunities his whole career. He's understood that he didn't come in with the Olympic or the big amateur pedigree fanfare coming behind him, the big promotional back. He didn't have all that, so he had to sell tickets, had to do dinner shows, had to pay for the opponents, had to do it the hard way. Built the cult following off the back of that, and then has just grabbed opportunities that came from like the amount of opportunities that came Paddy's way. Where a lot of fighters probably wouldn't have took him because they weren't really great for him at that moment in time, but he took them because he felt in certain moments and times he needed to take this to get to where he wanted to be. And it took a while to get out of that mentality and start to think, I got to look out for the best in my career now, and that's what he's done in the last few fights, and we've started to see the best of him because he starts to believe in himself more, and that's, I think, where he's progressed over the last few years.
He'll go into that fight as a huge underdog against a talented fighter in Berlanga. What does he need to do to get that win?
Show no respect, not come in to lie down, come in to prove, and because I would say Berlanga doesn't know too much about Paddy McCrory, so he's not going to give him respect. He's going to try him. So it's about pushing back and kind of bullying the bully would be the way to put it.
I saw Mick wandering around earlier. Nice to see him in his home city. Reflections on the end of last year against Jordan Gill. How's he doing now, and how was he in the aftermath?
Very hard. It was a very tough one, a very tough pill to swallow. It was very unexpected. It was a fantastic performance from Jordan and his team, but it was unexpected on our end. So it wasn't a nice few weeks, but his family got around him. They went away. Him and his wife and his kids. They all went away for a month over Christmas, and they came to my house before they went away, and we had Christmas dinner before Christmas for him and his kids and stuff. So it was all good. It's just about reflecting and looking inward, and he has a lot of thinking to do and a lot of decision making to do. He knows where I feel about things, but he's done a lot for this country in terms of creating a golden age of amateur boxing, Olympic boxing, and then giving massive nights here. Some of the best nights I've ever seen and experienced have been nights that he's been performing here in the park in Madison Square Garden. He created a date for Irish fight fans to go over to New York every year. He's done a lot of things, and he still wants to do a lot of things in the sport, so he has to really weigh up his options and sit down, but it's his decision, and it's something he's going to take time to do himself.
If you were in his shoes, what would your thought process be as far as continuing or possibly retiring goes?
Every boxer is in his shoes at some stage in their life, so I have been there, and I've had to make a decision.
How hard is that decision to sort of pack it in after it's been your life, isn't it, really?
It's a decision that every fighter has to face, so it's not a nice decision, but it's a decision that we all go through, and his decision is because it's tough for him because he still feels he has a lot to give to the sport and still wants to give and wants to achieve the sport. But the sport can be cruel at times, so it is a very tough decision for him. It's really, really tough. It's going to take a lot of time to make that decision, and it might be tomorrow, it might be next year, it might be next month. So he's got to kind of go through all that. But he's got a lot of things outside of boxing to focus on. He's got the beer. He's involved in the promotional setup, managing fighters. He's got a lot of property. He's got a lot of things going on. He's earned a lot. He's learned a lot in this game. But whatever his next move, he'll make that.
Jamie, thanks for your time and a pleasure chatting.
Appreciate you being over. Thank you.